Yes, sir. We are back with another edition of Fast Break Bets presented by BettingPros. You know me, you know the voice, you know the guy. It's me, really real, villain real, Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. Okay, don't have any time to waste. A lot to get through on the show today. There have been some of the constituents in the Betting Pros chat that have said they cannot wait to hear my thoughts on the Anthony Davis and uh, Luka Dončić trade. So I'll get to that for you in just a second. Why do y'all want to hear my thoughts? Why do you think what are my thoughts automatically? Are they going to be funny? What is it like? No, but it's all good. I think it's very, very funny. But real quick, let's do a quick recap. I'll give my thoughts and then I'll drop 3 plays for you here on a Monday fast break bets. But first, here's what happened last time out on the pod. We did not get the Clippers to lay 14.5. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Wizards just hung around, ended up getting the cover. But Giannis did what he needs to do, over 50.5 PRA. Kawhi over 17.5 points. Both of those hit. Had a good day in the Discord as well. Make sure you get into that Discord, bettingpros.com/chat. You can hop over there and join our Discord, join the discussion, join the laughs, the talks, the banter, all of that over there in Discord. Had a pretty solid. Yeah, it was. I guess it's technically a little bit of a down. 2-3 on a Sunday, 1-1 on Saturday. Again, sometimes I'm really right about college basketball, and sometimes I'm really wrong about college basketball. So that's actually really, really annoying. Still can't get on the college basketball slide, but it's all right. All of that picks, weekend picks over there in Discord. Make sure you go join that Discord all over there at Discord, bettingpros.com/chat. All right, people. There we go. Okay. So let's talk about my thoughts on the trade. A lot of places to start. Let's start with Dallas. So, to explain the trade in layman's terms, by the way, if you didn't know, breaking news. Luka Dončić got traded to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis, a first-round pick, Max Christie. Lakers also get Markieff Morris, and honestly, there's like other parts. Maxi Kleber, that's the other name. They get Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris. I really didn't care about that part of the trade. Somehow, some way, Danny Ainge finds his way into one of the biggest trades of all time, just being a random third team that takes on Jalen Hood-Schifino and a couple of second-round picks. Like, shout out to Danny Ainge for finding a way to get his team involved on the biggest deal of all time. And I just find it hilarious to think of Danny Ainge. It's not the middle of the night over there in Utah, so it was like midnight on the East Coast. So what's that? What's Utah? Is Utah on Mountain Time or Pacific Time? I don't know. I just talked to somebody that work at Betting Pros, and they told me that they live in Utah and they're in Mountain Time, I think. So I think they're in Mountain Time. So whatever. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I'm pretty sure Danny Ainge is an old man. He's probably in bed, and he gets a call, and it's like, "Hey, do you want to pick up this third team for Luka and Anthony Davis trade?" Super funny. Okay, so the Dallas Mavericks basically told Luka Dončić that you are a fat, disgusting, lazy slob, and we don't want to pay you $70 million per year. You're really, really good at the offensive side of basketball, but defensively, you're a traffic cone, and you're probably up there for worst defenders in the league right now. Your conditioning is really, really bad, and we constantly have to say something to you about it. And this has been something for a little while, and we just don't want to deal with that. They said apparently Luka weighs 270 pounds right now. I don't know how accurate that is, and I don't know where they came up with the number 270, but apparently Luka weighs 270 pounds now. So that was a no go as well. And I just constantly thought of, if you watch The Boys and you know the clip where Homelander is pressing A Train, talking about, oh, Shake Shack and you got the extra whipped cream, you're fat, lazy. He said a bunch of other words that my bosses would be very, very mad if I used on this show. But if you haven't seen that, the clip of The Boys and Homelander going at A Train, go watch it. That's immediately what I thought Nico Harrison was calling Luka, and how they kind of spun this to be like, but that's really the only way. Like, that's the only way you trade Luka Dončić. It's the fact of, you don't think that you're going to be able to get over the hump and win a championship with how bad he is defensively. He's going to give you everything, the world, the moon, the stars offensively, but defensively, he gives you absolutely nothing. And the Boston Celtics proved it last season when they headhunted him in the first 3 games of the finals and got out to a 3-0 lead. So I get it. I get why they couldn't. I'm also somebody who, I will admit, I am not as high on Luka Dončić as everybody else. I think Luka Dončić is a phenomenal player, a phenomenal offensive player. I don't think he is the type of person that is going to just carry a team to a championship, unless this is something like Denver, where they just built the best. Like, literally, they took Jokic and said, here's the best possible roster we can give you for your skill set. And then they went and won a championship, and everybody else on the team played defense. The Mavs did not build that roster for Luka. So I am one to see, hey, if you build that perfect roster for him, then of course anybody's going to win a ring. But I just don't think he's that number one option guy that's going to be able to lead your team to a championship, because of how he plays defensively, his inattentiveness. Well, I don't know why that was so hard to say. Inattentive. All right, whatever. I'm done trying to say it. I just can't get it out, and I'm not about to embarrass myself anymore. Nonetheless, he doesn't pay attention to anything else that's going on the offensive side of the ball when he doesn't have the ball in his hands. He doesn't move off the ball. He's very, very lackadaisical on that side of the ball when he's not initiating the offense for himself. And that has been critique in his game, and I don't think that should be a hot take or anything. Still, generational player. Really, really great talent. So I don't think anybody lost. But I just thought it was funny that the Mavs basically just called Luka fat, lazy, and a slob, and said that we're not going to pay you $70 million. And because of that, he has to go to LA, where he's probably going to get some $45 million per year. And then he's going to have to play Cali Tax. If I'm Luka, I'm giving them 50 every single time I play them. That's like a $30-40 million price difference. Like that, I'm giving them 50 every time I play them. And that should be Luka's energy every time he sees the Mavs. For the Lakers, it was a win, because guess what? When LeBron leaves, you're still going to sell tickets. You are still going to sell tickets. You may not win a championship. You might make one Western Conference Finals in the next 5 years, but you are still going to sell tickets. And that right there, that is a win. That is a big win if you're the Lakers. If you say, when LeBron decides to hang it up in a year or two, or just decides that he doesn't want to be in LA anymore, we can still sell tickets because we have Luka Dončić. That is a win. That is a massive win for the Lakers. Maybe not a win for the Lakers in the championship market. I am shocked that everybody that has went and placed Lakers futures after the trade for Luka, because that's crazy. I think the Mavs are way closer to winning a title this year with Anthony Davis, and the fact that Anthony Davis can now switch 1 through 5. And the reason that the Mavs have the problems because that they have is because they switch everything, and they end up getting Luka or one of their bigs in Lively or Gafford on a guard, and that guard proceeds to torch them. Well, now in crunch time, you just take your bigs off the floor, because Anthony Davis can play the 5. He doesn't like it, but he can play the 5 for the 2 minutes in crunch time. And when they try to switch, then guess what? You're switching a who should be defensive player of the year and has never won one, who can guard 1 through 5. And it's not going to be easy like when you were doing it with Luka, and where you're doing it, or when you were doing it with Gafford and Lively. So that really opens up defensively a world of possibilities for the Mavericks. And then offensively, come on now. I know I flame Anthony Davis. I know I cook Anthony Davis. I do. And in fact, honestly, I just want everybody to know that I will no longer publicly be cooking Anthony Davis. I will no longer talk about how he is Professor Glass or how street clothes is clearly the profession that he wants to work in modeling street clothes because that's all he wears when he goes to the games because he doesn't ever play. Or I will not talk about how that last seat on the bench is still going to be warm for where Luka got up because Anthony Davis is going to sit down right there. Like, I'm not going to talk about any of that publicly anymore about Anthony Davis because for some reason, through all the jokes that we make about Anthony Davis, people have forgotten that he's really, 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 really good at basketball. Like, really, really, really good. I don't think that either team, like no team lost this trade in my eyes. I think that it was a 50-50. The Mavs got better for today because they got better defensively and they still got a gifted offensive player. And the Lakers have their player of the future that's going to sell tickets and potentially drag this team to one Western Conference Finals. So I liked it. Some people didn't like it. I liked it. I thought it was good. All right. Those are my thoughts. There's a lot of people that have been waiting on that. There are a lot of people that are probably going to be really mad that I spent most of this episode talking about my thoughts on the trade, but I actually don't care because it's my show. And you can skip. Like, skipping is cool. So this is probably the moment with everybody started to skip and realize that, hey, he's actually giving out picks. So let me give out the picks that I have for today after talking about all of that. Pick number one, we are talking about fat, lazy, disgusting slobs. So I got to talk about Zion Williamson to go over 22.5 points here today. All right, I'm sorry for that stray, Zion. You really didn't deserve it. You ain't really deserve that stray right there. It was there. It was laid up right for me, and I just had to go ahead and punch it on home. So, all right, Zion Williamson over 22.5 points and points, not anything else, just points here today. It's really, there's no option at all for the Denver Nuggets to slow down Zion Williamson. I don't think so. I think Aaron Gordon's going to try, but Zion has torched him in the past as well. Zion has played really well the last two games against the Denver Nuggets and being able to get over this line. And if you just look at what he's doing, I'm actually shocked that they haven't moved this up to 24.5, 25.5. Like, he's gone over 22.5 in his last 4 games and 8 of his last 15 games. Like I said, he's went over in the last 2 games against Denver. He had 30 and 26. Like, Zion is a man that is so gifted at basketball when he's on the court, just like Anthony Davis, just like Luka. So gifted offensively at basketball when they're on the court. They just have to be on the court. I'm going to continue to keep betting Zion whenever he plays because nobody has been able to stop him yet, and he's been consistently good over the course of the time that he's actually been playing basketball games. So very, very easy. Prop cheat sheet likes it too. The prop cheat sheet projects him to go for 24, 55% cover probability. I'm taking Zion Williamson to go over 22.5 points here. That is play number one. All right, play number two going to be the over. Yep, another over. Going very simple in the 2 plays here today that I got. Another over in the Jazz and the Pacers, going over 238.5 here. Pacers are on the road playing the Utah Jazz. Jazz catching 7 at home. Bounce back spot for the Pacers. They didn't really field a good team that last time out, and they got destroyed by this Utah team in Utah. Well, this time around, I think that we're going to see a bunch of points because the Pacers have been a team possessed. 132 versus Atlanta, 133 versus Detroit, 136 versus San Antonio. Like, they have absolutely been killing teams as of late. And in turn, their defense has been par at best. It's kind of started to go a little bit downhill. I saw something that I didn't like in that Atlanta game of how they played defensively, and it just makes me believe that this Utah Jazz team, who pushes a lot of pace in a lot of their games, these are two really, really fast teams in terms of pace. I think that that's going to really disrupt defensively what the Pacers want to do, much like the Atlanta Hawks did over the weekend. And it's just going to be a track meet at that point. And it's going to be who can score the basketball last, who can kind of get that last run going towards the end of the game. But it's just going to be run after run after run after run. And I see a whole bunch of points scored here. So I'm going over 238.5 in the Jazz and Pacers game. A lot of pace and a lot of points scored in this one. Third play, going to Unrivaled. We've got the Vinyl and the Lunar Owls tipping off here. Lunar Owls, comeback kids. That is another comeback win for the Lunar Owls over the course of the weekend, coming back from the Laces and being able to get the win there. And I think they're going to have to do it again here against the Vinyl, because last time these two teams played, first of all, this is the first back-to-back matchup that we're seeing. Last two times that these teams played, the Vinyl did not have De'Erica Hamby playing. That's a pretty big piece for them. We know it's pretty big because last game out that the Vinyl lost, she scored 35 points. So she's just coming off fresh off a 35-point game. She didn't play in this game earlier against the Lunar Owls, and I think that they are really, really going to need her to try to disrupt anything Nafisa Collier. Like at this point, Fee, you don't guard Fee. You just try to make things tougher for Fee. And I think that she can do that. And she also gives them size that they need to keep them consistent on the scoring that they weren't able to do in that last time out. And so I think that De'Erica is a really, really big piece added to them. That's going to make a lot for this team. And I think that they're going to give the Lunar Owls a game here. Now, second time around, I think all the teams in the league are like, okay, the Lunar Owls are not playing business, and we're trying to be the ones to give them that L. We're trying to give them that L. And it was almost the Laces on a hurt team, and it took everything for the Owls to come back there, and that kind of showed me that, hey, this Lunar Owls team is beatable. It's just it didn't necessarily resonate there in that last moment, but it's like, hey, you can get this team. Like this team can be had. So I'm going to take the points with the Vinyl. I think that they can make this competitive. I still think that this is a 3-team race between the Lunar Owls, the Laces, and the Vinyl as the three best teams. And I think all three of those teams can be very, very competitive with one another, especially with how they run the pace in this 3-on-3 league. So yeah, give me the Vinyl to get this done, plus 4.5. I think they keep it close. Even if they lose, maybe it's another fourth quarter comeback from behind, hitting the target score win for the Lunar Owls. And maybe the Vinyl actually just upset them and win outright. But yeah, I like plus 4.5. I think that's too many points here. So those are the three plays we have for you. Pacers, Jazz go over 238.5. Zion Williamson go over 22.5 points. And the Vinyl in Unrivaled plus 4.5 points there. All right, a little bit longer of a show, but appreciate you rocking with me. It was fun. Hope you enjoyed my takes. Just let me know your takes. Drop them in the comment section. What are your takes on the Luka Dončić trade and how everything turned out there with Anthony Davis and all that? Would love to hear from you at reallyreal__ on Instagram, at BettingPros on X and TikTok, or at BettingPros NFL on Instagram. Sorry, got caught up there for a second. And youtube.com/BettingPros, where you can, hey, give me a like and give me a subscribe and a follow. And I didn't do it today because I went long with the Luka stuff, but I will announce the winner of the Trae Young jersey tomorrow. So I was going to do it today, went a little long with the trade discussion. We'll handle that tomorrow. We'll handle that business tomorrow. So make sure I also have to remind myself to do that tomorrow, but we will definitely do that tomorrow. All right. With that, I have nothing else to say, nothing else to do. No other way of ending the podcast. Just something like this. We are out of here.